Welcome to EasyDeploy YouTube channel. Today we are going to see how to set up auto-scaling in AWS ECS Fargate. What is covered in this video? We will be seeing: what is AWS ECS? What is AWS Fargate? What is auto-scaling? How to set up auto-scaling in AWS ECS Fargate. Use cases. Our client operates a high-traffic application with fluctuating usage throughout the day. Constantly using high-performance instances to accommodate short spikes in traffic is deemed impractical due to excessive costs. Therefore, we opted to implement auto-scaling for their environment. To achieve this, we migrated their existing EC2 base setup to a Dockerized environment hosted on ECS. Dockerizing the environment not only expedited application scaling compared to EC2 auto-scaling, but also facilitated environment maintenance. Prerequisites: AWS account. AWS account with ECS full access. Basic knowledge about ECS and auto-scaling. What is AWS ECS? ECS allows you to run, stop, and manage Docker containers on a cluster of EC2 instances. It simplifies the deployment, management, and scaling of containerized applications by providing features like automatic load balancing, service discovery, and scheduling. With ECS, you can create task definitions that describe the containers required for your application, specify resources and ports, and define networking and storage configurations. These task definitions are then used to run tasks or services on ECS clusters, which are groups of EC2 instances configured to run containerized applications. What is AWS Fargate? AWS Fargate is a serverless compute engine for containers that works with both Amazon Elastic Container Service and Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Service. With Fargate, you don't need to provision or manage servers. It abstracts away the underlying infrastructure, allowing you to focus solely on deploying and managing your containerized applications. Fargate allows you to run containers without having to manage the underlying EC2 instances or the container orchestration infrastructure. You simply define your containerized application using task definitions, specify the CPU and memory requirements, networking and IAM policies, and AWS takes care of the rest. What is autoscaling? Autoscaling is a service provided by Amazon Web Services that automatically adjusts the number of EC2 instances or other resources in your application based on demand. It helps maintain application availability and performance while minimizing costs by dynamically scaling your infrastructure in response to changes in traffic, workload, or other metrics you define. Here's how AWS auto-scaling works. Define scaling policies. You define scaling policies that specify when and how auto-scaling should scale your resources. These policies can be based on metrics like CPU utilization, network traffic, or custom metrics you define using Amazon CloudWatch. Monitor metrics. Auto-scaling continuously monitors the metrics you specify. It collects data from various sources such as CloudWatch alarms, elastic load balancers, or other custom metrics. Scale resources. Based on the metrics and scaling policies you've defined, auto-scaling automatically adds or removes EC2 instances or other resources to meet the desired capacity or performance targets. It can scale resources both vertically and horizontally. Optimize performance and costs. Auto-scaling helps ensure that your application can handle variations in traffic or workload without over-provisioning resources, which can lead to unnecessary costs. It also helps maintain performance during spikes in demand by automatically scaling up resources when needed. How to set up autoscaling in AWS ECS Fargate. Search for ECS. Click Create Cluster. Give cluster a name. When we type the cluster name, it automatically takes the default namespace. Here I am selecting AWS Fargate as we are doing auto-scaling with Fargate. Fargate is in pay-as-you-go service. Click Create. Our cluster is created. Go inside the cluster. Now we should create task definitions. Click Create New Task Definition. Give the task definition family a name. Here I am selecting Fargate as launch type because we are doing auto-scaling for Fargate. In task size, I am selecting CPU size as 0.5 and memory size as 1 GB as we are doing it for demo purpose. I already created a task role, so I am selecting that one. If you don't have one, you can create a new role. Give the container name. Search for ECR. I already created a repository and pushed an image to the repository. Copy the image URI. Paste the URI here. Leave these things as default. Click Create. Our task definition is created. Go back to the clusters and go inside the cluster which we created. Now we are going to create services. Click Create. In Compute option, choose Launch Type. Here launch type should be Fargate. Platform version should be latest. Select the task definition family which we created. Give name to the service. In network, I am selecting default VPC. If you already have an VPC, you can select that one. If you already have an security group, you can choose that. Otherwise, leave as default. If you need load balancer for your service, you can select this one. Otherwise, we don't need this. This is the main topic of the video where we should enable the service auto-scaling. We can give minimum and maximum number tasks according to our need. In scaling policy type, I am selecting target tracking. Give policy a name. In ECS service, I am selecting CPU. Choose the one which matches your needs. We should give the target value. Leave the cooldown period scale out and scale in as blank. Click Create. Our service is in deployment stage. Our service is now deployed. Go inside the service we created. Here we can check the health of the services. In task, we can view our tasks which we created. In logs, we can view the activity of our services. In deployments, we can see the logs of our deployments with date and time. In Events, we can view our day-to-day events. Search for EC2. Let's manually create a load on the ECS to see the load spike and auto-scaling. I already created an instance. Go inside the instance. Click Connect. Now again, click Connect. Now we have successfully connected to the server. Type sudo su to switch to root server. I already installed Docker in the server. If you want to know how to install Docker, check the description for the command. Type the following command to check the status of the Docker. Check the description for command which I used in this video. Docker is active. Type the following commands to run our application on the server. This is the public IP which I copied from the task. Click Enter. Now our application is running. This will keep on running until we manually stop it. Go inside the cluster which we created. Go inside the services. Here you can see that the CPU utilization is running. Here we can check the health of the service, and we can also check the performance of the CPU utilization. As we are given target value as 10, the percent of spike will not go above 10. If the spike reaches the limit, it will create another server using autoscaling. Conclusion. We have seen: what is AWS ECS? What is AWS Fargate? What is autoscaling? How to set up autoscaling in AWS ECS Fargate. Do you have any questions? Please feel free to comment or contact us at our email ID or contact us page. We will be happy to reply you. EasyDeploy is an authorized AWS cloud consulting partner. We have helped various organizations in adopting their cloud journey by architecting, implementing, and managing their environment with AWS best practices.